How you doing, and welcome to my channel. Now, if it's your first time here, please don't hesitate to hit that like and subscribe. If you're a returning viewer, thank you very much for returning to my channel, and don't hesitate to hit that like button. As you can see, I have two absolutely epic and classic figures from Hottoys. We have the Hottoys MMS 141 Sergeant Barnes from Platoon, and we have the MMS 135 Chris Taylor from the Platoon movie, the 1986 movie Platoon. These figures are quite old now at this point. 2010 they came out. They are two classics, still available on the eBay. There is still a few of them on the eBay, and you get them at a nice price as well. Just looking at the boxes, we have Tom Berenger as Sergeant Barnes on the cover of this one, and then we have Charlie Sheen as Chris Taylor on the cover of this box here. The back of both the boxes are identical. On the back we have Willem Dafoe as Elias on the back. Unfortunately, we never got an Elias figure, and in my opinion that is a crime to the 1/6 world by not getting an Elias figure. Just opening up the boxes there, you can see that, just move that one out of the way, you can see that there's quite a lot with it. There's a lot of accessories with these guys, and you can see the figure in there with even more accessories. And just do the same on this one here, even more accessories with Chris Taylor. To be honest, I think there was more effort put into Chris Taylor than Barnes, but I don't think I have a hot toy with as many accessories as these guys. There is quite a lot of accessories with them. So without further ado, let's get into the figures. I'll start off with Sergeant Barnes. No, actually, I'll start off with Chris Taylor. I'll start with Chris Taylor. Like I said, 2010, 15 years old now. Almost 15 years old. August 2010 for Chris Taylor, and October 2010 for Sergeant Barnes. And here we have them kind of posed up next to each other. Not too many accessories on them at the moment. Put a few little accessories on them. But before I move on to the accessories for Chris Taylor, I just do my usual pan down of the figures. Like I said, to this date, I don't think I have a hot toy with as many accessories as these guys. The accessories are endless. So what I'll do is I'll do my best to go through the accessories as fast as possible. And what I'll do is I'll start off, as I said, I'll start off with Chris Taylor, and we'll get through his accessories as quickly as possible, because apparently, according to my analytics, you don't like the accessories part and they skip forward a lot. So, but unfortunately, there is a lot of accessories. So here we have all of the accessories that come with the Chris Taylor figure. As you can see, there is a lot of them, and there is actually a couple more still on him. We'll start off with his grenade launcher. As you can see, there are some instructions that come with it there. There's quite a lot of detail to it. All the correct, instructions and warnings that would have been on the actual thing, and some caution kind of signs. And then on the side there we have US Army. Like I said, this is fully functioning. This part here just comes off. You can open it up if I can just get this to snap open. There we go. And then this part pulls out as it should, and then we can get the sight to pop up as well. It's a bit stiff, but there we go. And then that button there actually is on a spring, which is just crazy. That much detail in it is just crazy for 2010. And as you can see there, the RPG just pops in, and it just does everything it's supposed to do. And the RPG, the fins on the end of it do open up as well, with the exception of that one there that's a bit stiff. I don't want to break it. But yeah, absolutely amazing. Just crazy that it has that much detail in it. And even on the RPG, we have some text, if I can just get that to focus. There we go. And we have some text on the RPG as well, and it's painted quite nice paint on it. And just have another quick look at this epic, absolutely epic piece of kit this is, that it just does everything the real thing would do. And I'll just close it all up there and just snap this close. I'm glad that that's a bit tight though, because you wouldn't want it kind of flopping open. And then put the cover on, and there we go. And then we have his machete. If I can just get rid of that bit of fluff there. There we go. We have his machete there. Plastic's made entirely out of plastic. There's a bit of a bend to it, you know, it's a bit flimsy, but not the end of the world. Does the job. And then we have the sheath for the machete as well. Then next up we have his knife there, that's in a sheath as well. Then we have his claymore. Again, function, it just looks really well. This does, it does have legs on it. If I can get it into frame there. I haven't got it in frame, I beg your pardon. I've just dropped one of the legs off it. They're a little bit flimsy. I'll just get this to pop back in there. There we go. And like I said, yeah, the leg, it will stand. It does, the legs do function and it will stand. And at the front there, it says front towards enemy. That's sound advice. I'm gonna have to find a way of getting that to stay in a bit more permanently, but it does stand. And there we go for the claymore. And then next up we have the button for the claymore, the remote for the claymore, to trigger the claymore by remote. And then we have the coil for, I think that's for making it a trip wire for the claymore. And then we have his shovel that acts as, I'll just opens up as a shovel there, and it also acts as a pick at the same time, which is completely movie accurate and on point for the era. And then moving on, we have his Eugene Stoner M16 assault rifle. This is the one with the fixed stock and the standard polymer handguard. That would have been the traditional army issue rifle back in the day. The mag does come out. You can see we get one mag with them, and there is some rounds in it. If I can get it to go back in, there we go. And then the dust cover does function and open up, which is a nice touch. A little bit of wash in it, nothing too crazy, but it does, absolutely does the job. Then we have a smoke grenade here. That is a smoke grenade as far as I can tell, yep. There's some text on it there. Then we have two frag grenades with some wash and some nice paint in them. Then we have a carabiner. Then moving up, we have his rucksack, or his backpack. Nicely detailed rucksack, all the correct, you know, pockets and patches and bits in them. And then at the back we have a lumbar support on the back, as it should have. And it can open, it does fully function. It's packed there with some white foam, but it can be opened and filled with stuff. And then we have his helmet. And as you can see there, there is some text on the helmet there you can read. And it is, again, completely movie accurate, written exactly. There we go, brilliant. Now, unfortunately, over the years, the glue has come loose and unstuck a little bit. It's kind of fallen apart on the inside there. I'm going to have to re-glue that. Not the end of the world, though. And then we have his holster for his M1911, or his sidearm. He doesn't have one. Doesn't come with it. Doesn't come with a sidearm. Then we have two water cantinas there, and then we have a small little pouch for and it functions. They all function. You can open the pockets and you can put, you know, something small into that pouch. And then there's some patchwork on the holster as well. And then we have the bag for his claymores, the claymore bag, and you can see on the inside there just that attention to detail. The instructions on how to use a claymore is just brilliant. It's amazing that they've put that in there. I love it. And then we have his cross necklace that is featured in the movie. We have his dog tags. There is text on the dog tag. I can't read it. It is absolutely tiny. I don't know what it says, but there is definitely text there. And then we have two more of the necklaces that he wears in the movie. And then we have a alternate hairpiece that you have to put on if you want to put the helmet on him. He has to be wearing that hairpiece. We'll take a closer look at that a bit later on when we're looking at the figure. And just showing you there, he has some more pouches there. As you can see, he has two more pouches there. Here. They are kind of packed out with foam there, but you can take the foam out and put stuff in them, which is, he's absolutely packed out to the gills, guys. There's so many accessories. You couldn't get them all on him at one time. Oh, and his spare hands as well. We have 3 spare hands. He also comes with a knife holding hand that's on the figure and a relaxed palm on him as well. Then we have, you know, a kind of gesturing finger hand, a trigger hand, and another relaxed palm. So there we have it, guys, for the accessories. Oh, just one more thing as well. Sorry, guys. Hottoys give you these stickers here. This is a sticker, and what you're supposed to do is cut it to length and then wrap it around the parts of the weapon that they were on in the movie, which is, I don't know, I don't understand why they weren't on it coming out of the box, but I'm sure Hottoys had their reasons. And here we have Chris Taylor pretty much stripped down. I have left a couple of pouches or accessories on him there just because they're a pain in the nuisance to get back on if I take them off, so I've just left them on. Old school Hottoys base, Platoon written on it, oval base, just like Hottoys done back in the day, and Chris Taylor written on the front. Nothing fantastic, nothing fancy. So starting off in my usual fashion from bottom to top, we'll have a look at his footwear. And as you can see, this is not a molded plastic boot. This is material boot. It's all material, which has its pros and its cons. They haven't, disintegrated, which I'm surprised at, Vietnam issue boots from back in the day. These were army issue as far as I know, right, for a long time, possibly all the way through the 70s as well, but I might be wrong. And you can see the material in them there, and the lace kind of wraps around the ankle there, wraps around the back of the leg there to tie them off, and there is quite a lot of articulation there in the ankle joints because they're made out of material and a pleather. So there is a lot of articulation in the ankle, and just having a look at the grip there as well, you can see that the grip is done quite well, exactly as it should be, the grip that was on those kind of boots back in the day, and looks really nice. And then moving up, we have his army issue combats that he wears in the movie. We do have functioning pockets. There's plenty of room in those pockets to fit stuff into. Not much weathering on them. There is a little subtle bit of weathering, but I do believe that the colour of these is a little bit darker than it should be. Back in the day during Vietnam, I do believe that the uniform was a slightly lighter shade of green. Not the end of the world, but I do believe that the colour is a little bit inaccurate. Nothing much more to say about the combats. You can see the bottom of the jacket here there's a little bit of weathering in there's a little bit of weathering through all the seams and little bits. nothing fantastic, nothing, crazy, but still there, it still does the job. And then moving up, you can see there's a couple of pouches there. There is foam, like I said, there is foam blocks in them to bulk them out. All of it can come off. The harness can come off. The braces, you can see where the buckle of the braces there is detachable and can come completely off. Everything can be, taken off, which is fantastic. You can have him looking so many different ways, like he did in the movie. There was some scenes where he just had the jacket on and nothing else, so you can have him pretty much from almost every scene in the movie. You could have him looking. And then taking a look at the upper part of his jacket, it fits quite well. It fits nicely snug, it's all nice and snug. You can see it has the pockets in all the correct places there, and you can see the collar and the scarf that he wears. Now that scarf is quite prominent in the movie. There's one scene where he wraps it around his head to so he doesn't get bitten by bugs or something like that just before they get attacked. So I'm glad that they put that scarf in, because it is quite a prominent part of Chris Taylor in the movie. And then, if you can see, we have his watch attached to his collar there. If you can see it there, I know it's a bit too dark to probably see that. And I think in the movie there's a few of them that have the watch up there like that. I think it's been a long time since I've watched the movie, but I do believe that there's a few of them in the movie that have it up there. As far as I can tell, it's all completely accurate, except for the colour of the uniform, which is slightly darker. But just looking at the body there, over the years, it's gotten a little bit loose, guys. It's an old, slightly underscaled body, so he is small compared to a lot of figures. But yeah, the body's gotten a little bit loose. It still holds up. It still stands freely, as you can see there. It just does still stand freely. Now, if I put the backpack on him, that might be a different story. But it's just gone a little bit loose and a little bit flimsy over the years. Exposed joints in it, unfortunately. I do try and pull the sleeves down as far as I can, but it's more of an issue with the Barnes figure than the Taylor figure, but he does have exposed joints. So I do have to pull the sleeves down as far as I can, and you can see he has his little bracelet on that they all have on in the movie. I'm not sure what the bracelet represents, to be honest. It's a Vietnam thing, I'm sure. And then moving around to the back, the rest of the braces coming around, and the detail with the buttons all where they're supposed to be, and all the stitching coming around. And I'm not sure if the camera's picking up on it, but there is slight little bit of wear in all the creases and where the stitching is in the jacket. If I just pull that down a little bit better. Putting the backpack on does pull all of that up, and it just seems to fold it a little bit. Look, once you have the backpack on, it's not noticeable. So moving on, we'll get him a bit more stable, and we'll take a look at the head sculpts a bit closer. And here we have the Charlie Sheen head sculpt again, guys. 2010, guys, looks absolutely amazing for 2010. It's very, very good likeness of Charlie Sheen. I can't remember what age Charlie Sheen was when he was in this movie, but he was very young, and he looks it. It looks the job. And look, the details aren't exactly there. There is no texture in it or anything like that, but because he was so young, I don't think it really matters. But you can see the grubbiness and the dirt that's been put onto his face. I mean, he is in the jungle, so he's not exactly spotless, and that has been, that dirt has been put on him, which is amazing. And the bandana is made out of material. It's not a plastic mold. It's actually a material bandana put around it just to make it look more realistic, and it really does. It looks great. Like I said, he was quite young, so the fact that the mold is a little bit soft, you get away with it because he was so young, There's not a whole lot of detail to it, but it still works. It absolutely works. He does have a little bit of a crease in his brow there, you know, that he has this kind of bit more of a serious look, but I think it has really, really captured Charlie Sheen. And even his hair, look, the definition and the design of the hair looks really nice. He did have quite spiky hair like that in the movie, but if I can show you, you just take this part of the hair off. If I can get it off, there we go. And then you just replace it with the hairpiece that I showed you earlier on in the accessories part, which allows for, if I can just get it there, it allows for the helmet to pop on. Yeah, so, you know, the helmet just pops on his head, so you can have two quite different looks for him, with or without the helmet, which it's great for Hottoys to have done that. You know, the helmet is probably slightly oversized, ever so slightly oversized. Not a deal breaker. It doesn't look too bad. You know, it doesn't look ridiculous, but it's just slightly oversized. And there we have the text on the side there, and I'll give you another read of that. I'm not going to read it out. Again, it's on point. It's exactly written exactly how it was in the movie as well, which is just amazing that they've done that. And you can see a little bit of camo in it. There's kind of some multicam in it there, you know, and there's some fraying and you know, damage to it, as there would be. So there we have it for Chris Taylor, aka Charlie Sheen. I'm just going to swap this back over to the other hair. As you can see there, it's not magnetized like the modern ones are. It's actually just clipped in. It's on a kind of a clip, and it's quite stiff. There's no chance of it, you know, falling off or anything like that. And there we have a side profile there. It looks just like Charlie Sheen. So there we have it for Chris Taylor. So moving on, we will take a look at Sergeant Barnes' accessories before we get into Sergeant Barnes. So here we have pretty much all of the accessories that come with Sergeant Barnes. I say almost because there's still a couple of accessories left on the figure, you know, that I didn't take off. But anyway, starting off, we have his Colt 1911. Doesn't really do a whole lot. The mag does come out. Bit of weathering to it, you know. There's no more moving parts other than the mag coming out, but not many moving parts to it. Then moving on, we have his, what looks like, I think it was called an SOG, standard SOG knife from back in the day, from back in that era. And we also have a sheath for the knife. Then we have a small little push dagger or cold steel dagger, I think it is. Now, I'm not too sure, but I think that those knives came out after the Vietnam War, so I think that might be an accuracy issue in the movie. And then we have, somebody might be able to correct me on that now, and then we have the sheath for that knife. Then we have two grenades. As you can see, they are painted differently. They look quite different color-wise. One's darker than the other. There's a bit of wash in this one here, and there doesn't seem to be as much wash in that one. It's nice that they're kind of painted two different shades. It makes it look a bit more realistic. Then we have his dog tags, and again, on his dog tags there is some text. There seems to be a blade there on his dog tags as well, but there is some text on the dog tags. I can't make it out. It is absolutely tiny writing. Then we have his Eugene Stoner military issue, Vietnam issue M16 assault rifle. Well, this one is slightly different to Taylor's one now. We have a replacement mag there. We have two mags. The stock does adjust. There's an adjustable stock on it. The does cover, if I can get it, it does open up. And we have a different handguard on that rifle as well. It's kind of like something you get with the Terminator figure, this one is, to be honest. I think it's very similar to the one you get with the Terminator 2 figure. No markings on it, no trademarks on it, but I'm pretty sure it's a Eugene Stoner, or should be, supposed to be a Stoner rifle. And then moving on, we have his Vietnam bracelet that they all have. As far as I remember, they all have it in the movie. Then we have his shovel, which again, it does function as a shovel and slash pick, just like the one that Chris Taylor has. Again, completely movie accurate and on point for the era. And then moving on, we have a carabiner, and we have a cigarette, slightly oversized, ever so slightly oversized, but not too bad. Then we have a water cantina. We have his, very nicely done actually, I'll just pick this up. You can see it's all wrapped in the material there. You can take that out, you can unbutton those buttons there and take it out. And there are some markings on it as well, or US written on it there. And then we have his holster for his M1911. Then we have another pouch here, small pouch there with US written on the front, just packed out with foam. Then we have his bandolier, which is quite prominent in the movie. He wears that quite a bit in the movie. I'm glad we got that. Then we have his backpack, just like Chris Taylor's backpack. Very, very detailed, as you can see there, all of these straps, and they are all functioning. You can pull them all tighter. You can unbuckle it. You can, you know, there are straps to actually undo to open the bag up. There is some wear in it. You can see there's some wear in it, and there's some patches in it. And then on the back we have, as you know, no attention to detail spared. There is the lumbar support on the back and some clips on either side there for something that goes on the side. Absolutely no attention to detail spared on that bag whatsoever. Then we have Barnes's helmet. You can see it's got the multi-camera on it. Movie accurate as far as I can remember. There is a bit of wear on it, a bit of weathering to it as well on the covering, which again is accurate. And then we have the little piece of paperwork that Sergeant Barnes does have in his helmet throughout the movie. I'm not sure what it is or what it represents, but it is wrapped up and popped in there. It's folded up and popped in there. And then we have his spare hands. We have two relaxed palms. We have a knife holding hand. We have a kind of gesturing, pointing kind of finger, almost pointing kind of figure. And cigarette holding hand. And then we have his trigger hand. And like I said just a minute ago, guys, not all the accessories are there. There are some more on him. We have another water cantina on the back there, right at his lower back, and then we have two more pouches either side there. So he is, again, just like Taylor, packed to the gills with accessories, and you probably couldn't get them all. No, you absolutely couldn't get them all on him at one time. I don't think so anyway. I've never tried. So moving on, let's get into Barnes himself. And here we have Sergeant Barnes as played by Tom Berenger. Now, in my opinion, this is Tom Berenger's best role, his most iconic role by an absolute long shot. This is his most iconic role ever. Anybody who knows the movie knows that Tom Berenger played Sergeant Barnes. Absolutely amazing performance. He was brilliant as Barnes. Again, just like Taylor, typical Hottoys, old school oval base with Sergeant Barnes written on it and Platoon. Same as Chris Taylor, we have the material boots, a lot of flexibility in them, a lot of movement in them. They've come a bit loose, probably a bit too loose. He still stands up, but they are a bit loose, but they are tied up a little bit different to Taylor's. You can see they're not wrapped around the back like Chris Taylor's. They're just tied up in a normal knot. Moving up to his combats again, Nothing fancy, nothing fantastic. They are, as I said earlier on, off colour. They should be a little bit lighter. Not the end of the world. A little bit of weathering through them, just subtle bits of weathering in them in certain areas around the pockets and that. Now I have left a lot of his accessories on. I just want, make it kind of different to the Chris Taylor figure, so just showing you what he's like with the accessories on him. So he is quite packed out with there. Not all of his accessories on, just a few. You can see his water canteen on the back and some pouches on the sides. Like I said, I've never seen a hot toy with so many accessories, to be honest with you. And there's his functioning backpack there, fully functions, and it does fit on his back, which is nice. And the same with Taylor, the backpack fits on, and you can actually put the rocket launcher in the Taylor's backpack, just like in the movie. One of the things Taylor was missing, it fell off on me shortly after I got him, is these insignias on the side. You have to see the sergeant insignia there and the little Vietnam insignia there. I don't know what that insignia is, to be quite honest. And then just on the front, you can see he has some attachments on his belt. He has his M1911 holster on there. I'll just take it off. And he has his M1911 holstered inside, as you can see. And his bandolier is on him there. As I said, this guy's packed out. It's kind of difficult to get everything to sit in place because there's so much stuff on him. But again, iconic for the movie, this bandolier. He does wear it in the movie and it's quite significant. Again, it all comes off, everything comes off. You can see the buckle there that unbuckles, and you can take everything off. You can strip them right down. His braces do come off, and there is a t-shirt underneath. So I think in the movie there's some parts where he's wearing just a green t-shirt. I'll just see if I can give you a look at it there. Not really, but there's just a green t-shirt in underneath there, which Taylor doesn't have anything on underneath. And he has his, you could take the jacket off and just have him in the t-shirt. I don't see why you would, but it is an option. And then moving on, I will get this a bit more stable and we'll have a look at the head sculpts up close and personal. And here we have the Sergeant Barnes head sculpt, aka Tom Berenger. You can see, just like the Charlie Sheen one, you can see a bit more of the neck actually on this one than the Charlie Sheen one, because he has the scarf on. It does articulate pretty much any way you want to put it. It's it's quite articulated. You can see it. You can look right down. You can look quite far up. It is quite articulated, which is absolutely nice. And again, on the details, he does have that little bit of paperwork folded up and put into his helmet. I think he had a pack of cigarettes in there as well. I'm not sure. Can't remember. But something tells me he had a pack of cigarettes in there as well. Just getting the helmet off, you can see he has his bandana on. But looking at those details of the scarring in his face, just like it is in the movie. Now, it's probably a little bit soft, the sculpts for Berenger at the time. He was a bit older than most of the other casts. It's not as close a likeness to Tom Berenger either as the Charlie Sheen one is to Charlie Sheen. We still know who it is. It still looks like Tom Berenger, but it's not 100% uncanny. But you can see the bandana there is actually material that's been put in, which is nice. It's not just a plastic mold. It just adds to that little bit more realism, I suppose. Just having a look again at the details of the scarring. You can see the scar goes all the way from his chin, all the way up through his lip, and then up into his face. There is some subtle kind of pink tones in there to show the scarring, kind of healing, or the scarred tissue, and you can see it goes up around it above his eye, just like it is in the movie. Absolutely spot on. and the bits of hair coming out the front of the bandana, which is on point as well. Like I said, not the best likeness for Tom Berenger, but because of the scar, you know exactly who it is. You know, we know who we're looking at. You can't take that bandana off. It doesn't come off. We do see him in the movie without the bandana the odd time, as far as I can remember, but unfortunately we have to leave this on. But it's not the end of the world. Just moving around to the back, you can see a bit of loose material there. But you can see how it's all tied up. That is quite intricately tied up. I would not want to be messing about with that or have that come loose and have to try and do it back up myself, because I don't think it would be possible. It would cause massive issues to untie that and try and redo it. But there you go, guys. There is the Sergeant Barnes. You can see the little bit of crow's feet there. But yeah, anybody who was of a certain age or a certain vintage who was around in the 80s would really appreciate these figures, and you know, who knows the movie. But like I said earlier, they are pretty much still available on eBay. They're going for a reasonable enough price. You know, they vary, but they, you know, if you shop around or if you know, wait your patience, you could get them kind of cheap enough. But be warned that the bodies are old and a little bit flimsy at this point, and you know, could possibly break if they're not looked after correctly. But there we have the Sergeant Barnes from Platoon, aka Tom Berenger. So there you have it, guys. Thanks for watching this really long video. Please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and help me to grow the channel just a little bit more. Thanks a lot and take care.